All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
One Ounce, episode 18. With
Ah.
this episode, we will be 3/4 of the way through the show.
Yep.
Man, it's blown by.
Yeah, and now we're in the arc of cheating. And what is cheating? And
Exactly.
how do you define real? You know. So,
yes.
So, how does Toa take us into the second game here?
Well, I think it's going to start with actually playing in the game. I've got to say, I'm not sure exactly what the manager's big strategy was of making the relief pitcher never pitch, especially when the game's tied. But, you know.
I would say on some level that's a bit of a thing we'll have to just write off there. Toa being someone that also just pitched a ton, it might have had something to do with it, but yeah, we'll see. It's also a thing of where the owner's not giving him instructions.
Nope.
So maybe the owner's like, I don't actually think Toa's that good of a pitcher because he's only brought on for like those specific small times.
And yet he's given up only 2 runs over the course of, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
You're 100%
playing.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 100% right.
Yep.
I think it is something that we'll have to see how he handles it in this game here. But also, Kojima getting a little bit frustrated, getting a little bit angry, getting a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
It'll be seriously curious to see how he handles keeping his cool here when he knows what's going on.
Right.
Mr. kind of good boy, lawful good, you know.
But still, you know, forced the dead ball in the 1 ounce game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
Why are you laughing? Toa didn't even play. Oh, wait, no, the manager back.
オーナー今日の試合特知とのレートはどうなさるんですか
そのままさ
Stolen sign.
かけるのは特産じゃないそして特知が疲れ切ったところで明日どんとかける
しかしいくら特知が疲れていても
It didn't work against the Mariners.
回収できるほどの失点をするとは思えませんが
いや特知が勝手に無茶をして自ら消耗すると言うべきかな
Shit.
Okay.
ブルーマーズ先発ナムンナリカオンズ先発三井で始まりました2回戦
昨日お前が入れた勝のお
Yeah,
かげで
everyone's in a
みん
good
な闘志
mood.
満々だ
投手だけで勝てる相手ならいいけどな
Yeah.
この日もリカオンズは好調な滑り出し初回先頭打者猪町がヒットで出塁
ナムンナ第1球投げた富岡バント
Okay.
これはいいところへ転がっいやナムンナ反応がいい素早く取って一塁いや迷わず二塁へ
For a double play?
これでいくナムンナはツーアウトになるとモーションがでかくなる走れ
ファーストランナー富岡走ったしかしバッテリーこれを読んでいた
ブルーマーズが無得点で攻撃終了後の2回表先頭打者小島がセンター前ヒットで出塁
Yeah. Okay.
そして次のバッターは最近当たりの止まっている5番新井
Okay, we're all
2度に
there.
わたる送りバントそして盗塁と攻撃面の度重なる失敗はリカオンズに悪い流れを呼び込み先発三井のリズムまで狂わせて
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah.
Maybe swap him out?
打ったこれは文句なしホームラン
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
All right.
2回裏ロドリゴ16号先制ソロホーム
It
ラン
happens. It happens.
ランナーためとくよりいいさ
打ったまた打った
嘘だまだ2回だっつうのに5点ビハインドだなんて夢やこれ今日負けたら年俸半減そしたらあんたどうすんのどうすんの俺
監督さんよこの後俺が投げる
Yeah.
5点もリードされてストッパー対決も何もないだろ
Yeah, that's true.
それはそうなんだけど
勝ち点だろ
はい
Harder.
お前から登板を志願するなんて珍しいな
俺じゃなきゃ止められねえよ俺の持ち球はストレートだけサインの必要がない唯一のピッチャーだからな
Exactly.
どういう意味だ
Yeah, all our signs are
盗ま
being
れてるんだ
stolen.
よ
Yep.
サインを
Yeah.
ベンチからのブロックサインからバッテ
He's
リ
even putting
ー
his
サイン
glove
に至るま
up.
でそもそも昨日のウィリアムスのリリーフからして臭いと思ってた
ウィリアムスのリリーフが
普通抑えってのは延長の可能性が高い同点の場面では登板しないもんだ。
Sure.
にもかかわらず、
Oh.
ウィリアムスがマウンドに上がったのは奴らにすぐ勝ち越す確信があったからさ。
Gotcha. Nice.
昨日ヒットを打った3人共にストレートを叩いてる。しかも際どいコースに入ったカーブを不自然なくらい早々と見切っていた。
それはつまり
お前が出したサインは何らかの方法で
Some
全
kind
て
of
のバ
method.
ッタ
Yeah,
ー
we
に
don't
漏れ
know
ていた
how.
ってことだ。
なんてやつらだ。
ロドリゴがホームランを量産してるのも同じからくりだろうよ。
Sure.
そうか。奴が変化球を捨てる技を身につけたっていうのは。
盗んだサインで苦手の変化球を捨てて
Right.
ストレート一本に。
Okay, cool. We're starting to see how they're
Yep.
Yeah, but that's technically not cheating. Like
サインを盗む方法なんていくらでもあるぜ。
だが盗んだ情報を選手に伝えるとなるとプレー中では動きも制限される。チャンスはわずか。その中で確実に信号を送る方法はおのずと限られてくる。
wow.
Okay.
What kind of things could be out there in the stadium?
その前にサイン交換の必要がない俺が後続を断ち、こちらの攻撃の時に敵の信号を探る。
攻撃の時に
敵が守備陣営すべてに信号を飛ばしている時の方が
So everyone watches a specific player.
うちの連中にそれは無理だな。
That's a good point.
今このことを知ってるのは俺とお前、
Oh,
そ
Kojima
して小
knows.
島の3
Makes
人だけ
sense.
だ。
Probably because he just figured it out by himself, you know?
Sure. Well, and with his stoic face, there's no way they'd read it.
Uh-huh.
ストライクバッターアウト三者連続三振特地悪い流れを止めました。
驚いたな。本当にサイン交換とかやらないんだな。
やっぱりストレートだけか。
ああ。でも手元でやたらボールが動くっていうか。
攻撃に回ると
Yeah, now they need to get
小島
runs.
井出口の3人は必死に敵の信号の出所を探した。ベンチ内の動き、特にブルーマーズの内野手たちの視線の先、それこそ全ての挙動を注視した。
I love that they're trying to get us suspicious of everything here. Like,
Right.
連中どこ
Ah,
で
yes,
も見
this
つめ
shot.
てる様子なんて全然ないじゃねえか。まさか信号の出所分かったか。
you have an idea?
なあ、ひょっとして奴ら特にサイン盗みをやめてるんじゃないか。
Oh.
5点差は
Although-
Oh, no, that's it. They're not doing it right now.
信号は特に止まってるんじゃねえか。
簡単なことさ。
Maybe the fact that they can't tell what it is is actually a tell.
出させるように仕向ける。
Oh.
特地が6
How
回
would
の
they do
裏
this, though?
ブルーマーズの攻撃を3人で抑え、
迎えるバッター
I guess they haven't needed
Oh,
to
Kojima!
because they still have a 5-point lead.
おっとブルーマーズベンチ、
Oh.
天童監督動きます。
Okay.
天童監督左腕の吉国をマウンドに置
Oh,
きます。
cool, cool.
Alright.
They have a
実は
different
小島は
pitcher.
この
Okay.
左のサイドスロー吉国を大の苦手としていま
That
す。
feels like a fairly
昨シーズンこ
straightforward
の
move.
Yeah.
2人の対戦は23回。
監督、画期的な作戦を思いついたんだけど。
What? What?
画期的。
Oh, and they're not telling us, so it's gonna work.
Yeah.
勝ち点だろ。
はい。
I'm guessing he's manipulating the manager to do something really obvious.
He's gonna give him a bunch of nonsense. Wait,
Or is he
wait.
telling him to for Kojima to bunt?
いいんだよ。これで再び奴らの闇信号が飛ぶことになる。
Now we watch and wait. Watch. Pay attention. Pay attention.
投げた。
Fastball.
パッとスクイズだ。
Okay.
ファール。
Yeah, foul ball.
切れるファール。三塁ランナーが戻ります。
監督、
え、監督呼ぶかよもう。
スクイズ一旦中止しようか。
なんで？
なんか小島バント下手みたいだからさ。
お前
Nice.
な思いつきでも
Intentionally
ないな
having the bunts be
思いつ
foul
きじゃ
so
ねえ
that
よ。絶対の自信があって言ってんだよ。
小島さんにスクイズといった突拍子もない作戦をちらつかせてブルーマーズの奴らを揺さぶり再び闇信号を飛ばさせるってわけか。
ボールおっと今度はスクイズの構えも見せずあっさり見送った小島ヒッティングかスクイズか
初球小島さんがスクイズした時には明らかに奴らは動揺していた。だが見逃した2球目3球目守備位置にほとんど変化はない。
Yeah. So
2
what is
球目
it?
にこちらのサインが変わったことに気づいてるんだ。どこだ
Yeah.
必ずある。
Is it all these things? All these little things?
ボールこれでカウント 1-3 スクイズを警戒したか
Because if it's something above their own dugout, they wouldn't be able to see it.
What is it now?
スクイズやろうぜ。絶対成功する。俺が保証するよ。
どっから来るなこの武士は。
徳地が勝負に出た。どこなんだ
Was that it?
投げた
Slider, okay.
見つからね
いったな。
ヒッティング
Oh, shit!
All right.
Oh! 3-run homer! Let's go!
Wait,
there were 2 people on base,
Oh,
too.
shit. All right.
Kojima talked about this.
再び信号が飛ぶって。
でもそれってスクイズをちらつかせて闇信号を引き出して出所を突き止めるってことじゃなかったのか。
そんなの一時的な対処にしかな
Yeah,
らな
we
いだろ。
haven't found it yet, but...
Sure.
止まった信号を再び引き出す方法はただ一つ。点差を縮めること。だがスクイズ取り消し後は全くバントの警戒をしていなかった。
それは俺にも分かった。
That's when they started
つま
doing
り
it.
闇信号が出たってことだろ。
それを待ってたのさ。カウント 1-3 の後、監督からスクイズのサインが出た。当然この情報は敵に伝わった。お前ブルーマーズがこちらのサインを盗んでると知った時どうしようと思った？
そりゃ阻止しようと。
必要ない。やらせとけ。
Yep. We'll give them all the information, yeah.
イカ様を武器にするやつは必ずそのイカ様で
Yeah,
自分の国を
yeah.
Okay.
勝負の浄土だ。
Okay.
これで一気に点差は2点。ケツに火がついた奴らは今まで以上に闇信号を飛ばしてくる。そうなりゃこっちのもの。あとは連中を地獄に突き落とすのみさ。
敵の闇信号を逆手に取ったスリーラン。いよいよ勝負師徳地東和の反撃が始まる。
All right.
Oh,
All right.
that was a really surprisingly minimal episode in terms of what they added into the story.
And
the
yet-
signals are being stolen, which was quite apparent from the first game, really.
Right, and
Especially-
they haven't been able to figure it out. So, not a whole lot of progress in a sense, apart from the 3-run home run that Kojima scored.
Yeah.
And yet, this was an incredibly engaging episode.
Yeah,
The way that
definitely.
they showed the fear and the paranoia of oh God, what is this? Could it even be the lady calling out if anyone wants beer in the stands?
the
right?
flag waving a specific way,
Right.
and that
Just
yeah.
so much stuff that's happening. How in the hell are they going to figure it out, right? It's home field advantage. It could be anything, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, of
And I love
course.
that. It could be anything. And while Toa is okay, I'm going to have him, at the very least, looking for that, I'm not going to tell everybody else because, one, they're a bunch of idiots who will make a whole bunch of, whoa, what is it that? Toa, I think it's this thing, you know?
Right,
Shut the
just
fuck up, dude.
just seeing how they responded to the, what, you're squeeze bunt again?
I mean, they didn't yell out squeeze bunt.
No, I
but
know.
were
They did everything but
our
that.
best batter, and you're having him squeeze bunt? What? You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
They're
you don't necessarily need
they make great reactors on a reaction channel, though.
yeah, that's a good point.
Because they just show their genuine feelings consistently. you
Well,
know?
that moment when you realize that that's actually what a lot of the side characters in anime are. Side note, bit of a tangent,
true.
but
It's
they're
true.
basically just a reaction channel to help the audience because
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Exposition, son. Can you tell me what the main character son did?
The ultimate technique. Oh no, how will they get out of this? It's
How does that technique
It's
even
all that.
work? I
Yep.
didn't just see it just now. So
can you please explain it to me? Yeah.
Sounds like a main character, Chad.
Yeah. Right.
I loved that I very much started to get paranoid as well. I think that the way that this was portrayed was really well handled.
Yep.
I liked that Toa just went for the simplest answer of, well, in warfare, the best way to get a one-up on your information side of things is just use it against them. You know, leak false things that are just not what you're going to do. And because Kojima is one of the players that knows that they're stealing the signals, he can do this.
Yep. And because the other team is so reliant on this, because they didn't used to be a strong team and everything, then they'll use it, and they'll use it more often than they need to. But when they, not that they do that, they don't do that. They're smart about that. But when they don't do that, they're easy to beat, right? Because they're not using their winning card, right, that they've been relying on, so it's a fairly simple process. But
problem is that eventually the other pitcher's going to come up to the plate, and your batters won't be able to get on base for Kojima to fake out their fakes.
Yeah.
Or fake out the fake hand signals. Yeah. So, in that respect, this is going to end up being a very close game very, very quickly. Because we went through a bunch of innings with nothing happening because Toa stepped up. And while that's something that is very rare, he is a relief pitcher or a closer. He is not a starter.
Yeah.
You know, while he is just throwing fastballs and he has played a lot, like he's thrown a lot of pitches, he's still a human being, and he can't throw 7 innings and then 9 innings again in the next game.
And I guess maybe the reasoning for why he wasn't brought out in the first game, even though it does seem kind of odd since that tie and late game and stuff, it might have been because it's we're going to be doing a series. We don't want to exhaust him. I think we can win this game without him. Don't use him.
Yeah, in some ways, the confidence born by how many runs that they scored against them through the beginning of the game lulled them into a false sense of security, and thus, by extension, the coach also made that mistake.
But it's the reverse here, where they were down 5-0 in the second inning. That's kind of a big problem. So, you pull out the big guns of Toa and just hope he has the stamina to last that long. Now, the interesting thing, though, is that the owner predicted that this would happen.
Because he's made a deal with the owner of the other team.
Right. But predicting that, like, the other team will score a bunch of runs and then that'll force Toa to come out, that's not necessarily something you know with certainty. Confidence, maybe, but
No, he does know, because that's what happened last game. The other team scored a ton of runs.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, right, because of the signals from the catcher, right?
Yeah.
But
he doesn't know how they're doing it, but the team scored a ton of runs against them as well.
Okay, all right. So maybe that is all that he's going to be doing here with this whole situation. Because the vibe that I got from that is that in addition to the cheating that the other team was going to be doing, the owner also was going to be doing something on top of that.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he's doing anything until potentially the third game, if at all.
Okay.
I think he's already made his deal with the other owner and basically said, hey, these are the kind of things that you can expect. I need you to destroy Toa. I need you to actually destroy him here. And he's like, okay, probably was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need you to pay me. The owner's like, fine, I got that. He's like, I'm going to need you to give me some information on Toa, like a bunch of things in that regard. He's like, okay, here's what I know. Here's this stuff there. And he's like, okay, cool. All right, thank you. And then we'll go and do what we do. And you, via this contract here, admit that this was your desire for us to do this. So if you try to backstab us, we can leak this and show that you paid us to sabotage one of your own players.
Sure.
And he's like, yep, I have no issue with you having that kind of power over me because I want this done and you'll have the money. And thus we'll both just walk our separate ways and it'll be good.
So here's where my mind's going. That makes me think that theoretically the reason they couldn't figure out what it was is because it was something that was off the field. All of the players had been previously told what their signals were. They learned them ahead of time because it had been leaked to them by the owner. And so that's why there's no signals necessarily happening, because they're the ones observing the signals being given. And so no one needs to communicate to them, hey, this is what the deal is.
I don't think that's the case because they've been consistently good as a team in terms of skill with other teams. And I don't think the owner would have made those same deals with owners of other teams. He bought out someone else, because they're also probably not really flush with cash. They're probably using every bit of money that they gain to pay back the loan that they probably made to make this new stadium.
And on top of that, they were surprised at the beginning when Kojima switched to a squeeze bunt.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that it's something where they're actively
getting live info.
Not just getting live info, but the people that are studying them are taking a while to figure out what the signals are. And so
there's a reason for that. It's because they stopped looking at the signals. Because that was something that they discussed, was that they at that point with the 5-run lead, they're like, okay, we don't need to look for signals anymore.
Right.
So and then when he squeeze bunted, they're like, wait, he squeeze bunted? Okay, look for signals again.
Right. The first time he squeeze bunted, they're surprised by it.
Right.
The second time, then it's he's just giving the exact same signal that he gave before. He's, maybe he's going into a squeeze bunt again.
Yeah. One of the things that's important to kind of clear up as a baseline of information about how signals work, they're not one signal for each thing. You don't do the same signal every single time for a squeeze bunt.
Sure.
So what they'll have usually is they'll touch their body in a specific set of ways, use a bunch of hand motions, and there's usually like a number. Let's use 5 as an example. There's 5 different things that you can have that could say squeeze bunt.
Sure.
So they throw a bunch of nothing in there, and then they switch around which of the 5, one of them that they'll drop, so that you can never fully tell what it is. And because it's because there's like maybe 180 different things that they can throw out there, and only like 15 to 30 of them are signals, it's really hard to tell what it is.
Needle in a haystack kind of a deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that that for all of the times that the manager of the Lycaons is kind of the butt of the joke, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really know what he's doing and things like that. At the very least, I firmly believe that when he goes up there brashly and does this, that he has figured out a way that
he's an old guy. He's done this a lot.
That there is no reasonable way without some kind of spying, cheating, whatever, something or other, the other team would be able to know from looking at his signals.
For sure.
So, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to throw out theories as to how they're doing it? Because I have a couple things off the top of my head, like really, really random, but weird things.
Well, with the batter, there was like when they're batting, I was thinking that maybe there could be something where they have like a thing in the helmet or something.
Right.
But that doesn't help when they're on defense because they're wearing hats.
Exactly.
There's no way to hide a microphone,
Yeah.
This isn't some, spy thing where they have some transparent earbud, deal.
Right. One of the things that's weird about a stadium is the way that sound is transmitted.
But they wouldn't be able to get that to the whole team.
But maybe they could. And this is the thing where things can get weird. Because a sound is something that's going to reverberate through the stadium and stuff, in some ways, you could never hear what a right fielder is saying just regularly, if they're just regularly talking, if you're at the batter's spot there.
Yeah.
So, there could literally be things in the ground, like speakers of sorts, that are there that are all connected to a pseudo intercom of sorts, and they all just give it to everybody.
And because the stadium will be like really loud and stuff and things like that, no one else is going to hear it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, what they could do is they don't have to have it be words. They could have it be a sound that gets mixed into the cacophony of noise in general.
Okay.
So the idea of the girl out there saying beer, beer, who wants beer? That could be a type of signal.
But at the same time,
there's no way they would hear that. Exactly.
Right. And that's going to be happening consistently enough anyways that like the flag being waved, that's like, okay, that's maybe something's there. That's a visual thing. But at the same time,
they're not looking that direction necessarily.
And how do you communicate complicated information? If it's something binary, then it's like, okay, are they swinging it left to right, or whatever? Like, what's the way that they're swinging it, or something like that?
And you know what's the other one? If it's a visual thing,
what
is there's literally someone above their dugout doing it all for them, so that when they're I can't think here. When they're on offense, when they're batting, most of them are in the dugout. There's one person on deck that's outside the dugout, usually at a specific position on the first or third base foul line. But the batter is so focused on the pitcher, they cannot afford to go and look over to the dugout for more than just a little bit to get that initial signal. Once they've done that, they look away. once that's done, there's a bit of a time delay. The person potentially on top of the dugout is either getting communication from someone on the other side of the field that can have a view of what's going on there, or is just right there and close and looking down at them and then goes, okay, this is what it is. And then they pass it to everyone in the field that has a nice view of them.
And the thing that I'm curious about is that, like, when I would think about, like, picking up on signs and stuff, the field's a pretty big place, right?
It's a really big place.
If you have someone that's in the stands that's, like, you know, I don't know, by the dugout, they're not necessarily, like, even if they have a good angle, they're not necessarily going to be able to pick out the differences in signals that the catcher gives, you know, from behind the plate, right? Too small, too far away. If you're posing as like a photographer and you have some big ass lens camera, then maybe you can zoom in and you can get that detailed information so you can know for sure what it is and then let everybody know, right?
Yeah.
Because the people in play aren't going to be able to necessarily see it either, right? So
Good point, yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah. So
all right. So this is the one I wanted to bring up here. You see this red little highlighted bit on the scoreboard here?
I
think it moves around.
Really?
So there's another point in the episode.
But I feel like that'd be too obvious, right?
There. But that's the thing. If it's just a little red highlight thing there, it's not necessarily something. Okay, so right there, it's 5 from the left side on the right part of it there. I believe there's another. See, now it's over here.
Oh.
Now, this might be, I believe. No, sorry, I'm done. This is who's at bat right now.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
yeah, because I was gonna say, if you have something like that you're literally putting it on like the neon sign kind of a thing, like.
But that's how everyone would see it.
No, yeah, everyone could see it that way, but like people would see it that you wouldn't want to see it, you know.
Yes, you're right.
Because it's something that is obvious enough to be visible to the entire team, and they don't need to make a big show of looking at it potentially. I mean, maybe they do. We'll have to see when they start using it again. But it also needs to be something innocuous enough that when, like, say, the catcher is looking at everything, his mind is just drawing a blank. He's like, there's nothing here that I would be suspicious of unless I'm just suspicious of everything.
Yeah, it is the batter stuff, because when Kojima's up to bat, it shows the designated hitter symbol, or the letter D for Kojima, because he's not a fielder, he's a designated hitter. So okay, so that's not it. That was just a random thought I had. But yeah, I'm noticing things that might be nothing, because this game has turned itself into a magic act where I am just trying to figure out
we are the
what
catcher.
the shit is. Yeah, we are the catcher now.
Just, you know, looking at things and like, maybe that means something, you know?
Yeah. But all right.
Hey, again, it's all reaction.
Yeah, it really is. It all comes down to it.
Is that important?
He's got it in his palm or something. My cousin Vinny, you know? But all right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.